Elena. So you're an abstract. You're abstract expressionist?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think so.
and you've been painting for 10 years,
Yeah,
and this is your second residency.
third one.
Third
Yeah.
residency. And how is this one been compared to the others?
I mean, I chose it because I really like remote areas,
Mm-hmm.
and this is the first time I had donkeys around.
Oh, nice.
I was waiting for one to have a small baby.
Yeah.
So I love that it's so remote, that it's
Mm-hmm.
so green, and you can see that in my paintings. I'm using green colors.
Mm-hmm.
And the people, what I find is this time we were here, the artists are amazing, so it's
Mm-hmm.
always nice to have collaborations, to talk to people about art, about the art process, to reflect on our lives as artists. I think that
Mm-hmm.
was really, really good, especially during the COVID. You usually go alone, and now
Mm-hmm.
there is a group, and I think it
Yeah.
helped a lot.
Yeah, post pandemic or coming out of pandemic.
Yeah.
And you were saying yesterday that you just love cities, right? So you're
Yeah.
just a city, you love being in cities,
Yeah.
but being remote helps you as an artist.
Yeah, it helps to disconnect from
Mhm.
all that you do in the city. And because again, I'm so remote, I don't go to the shops, I don't do anything. I just sit here and I
Mhm.
paint, and it takes time to relax. And having the space
Mhm.
allows the mental freedom, not thinking about home or everyday routines,
Mhm.
creating something new, get into new flow. And I think it helps with the creativity,
Yeah.
puts you in a new space. And
Yeah.
especially when it's so beautiful outside. So
Yeah, it's a great time of year. It's just really lush, right? And that was one of the first things you said to me after our forest walk was like the colors and everything were just so. And then you came over here almost immediately after that
yeah,
first walk, right? And
yeah,
just started painting.
yeah. When you live in a city, I mean, even if you go to the park, you still hear the cars, you see the buildings, and as beautiful as they are, sometimes it's really refreshing not to see anything except for nature.
Mm-hmm. Nice. So you showed up with lots of canvases. So you work on multiple pieces, as we can see, at a time, and you do a lot of layers, right? So you have
Yes.
kind of a space at home, and you
Yeah.
do work at home a little bit
Yeah.
and kind of express your emotions through your paintings, but you create layers on layers on layers.
Yeah, sometimes it's very fast and I'm
Mm-hmm.
happy with that, but most of the time it's layers upon layers and then see where it takes you.
Yeah.
Sometimes mood changes between layers and then you have like happy accidents with really
Yeah.
strange things, but strange can be really nice sometimes. So,
Uh-huh. And you were using different instruments, and we also went to Nashville, so you bought some new brushes,
yeah,
which was really cool. And you said sometimes you use like scraping, but not as often, right? It's more
yeah,
your hands.
yeah, I use hands, I use spatulas, I use whatever I can find actually. Sometimes I like to do marks
Mm-hmm.
with these kind of things. So whatever I find that is strange, that can
Yeah.
leave something unexpected,
Yeah.
I'll use it in different ways. So this is something that I scratch the canvas with.
Yeah.
So
Nice.
you have this.
I love happy accidents. So I love I love your process. And when I came out here the other day and saw these, I was so shocked. I was like, "Where did this come from?" Because you've been working, which we can look at later, but these are so dynamic and as a designer person, I love your other pieces like this
Mm-hmm.
one, it's very mood
Mm-hmm.
and it's lovely. But then all of a sudden I'm out here and I'm like, what? So you've been here 3 weeks. It'll be three
Yeah.
weeks tomorrow when you leave. And do you think
Yeah.
that was enough time?
Yeah. I think a week is definitely not enough. I think it took a week to get to yourself and painting, and then the last week was really productive. And
Mm-hmm.
this is when the accidents, a new thing came, because you
Mm-hmm.
speak to people, you go to their workshops, you ask what they do, you look at what they do.
Mm-hmm.
And this I have to say thanks to Jess. They introduced me to the ink painting.
Mm-hmm.
So again, these talks to with other artists is what brings some unexpected things that maybe you otherwise are not thinking about, and then it can get into a serious, which
It's
we see here.
fantastic.
So
Yeah, that is fantastic. So these are, is this the first time you've done something like this?
yeah, it is.
Wow.
This is my
Yeah.
first,
Yeah.
first time I
So,
bought the ink. So
oh, okay. So did you buy this in Nashville,
yeah,
the
yeah.
art store?
Yeah.
Okay. And so is that giving you more of a like a opacity,
I don't know.
transparency to the
No,
work, or
it's
is it just
you can just put up different lines and
layers and
see
lines?
where it takes you and make some strange shapes,
Mm-hmm.
like stainless
Yeah.
glass or
Stained
something.
glass.
Stained
Yeah.
glass.
Yeah. Yeah. It's lovely. It's really dynamic. All of these, and you can still see the layers underneath with the textures, right?
Yes.
So
it has been repainted at least 4 or 5 times.
Mm.
And this one, actually, I came here and it was a different painting here. Do you remember the one that I was
I
working
think
on?
so.
And this is, I don't know, 5th or 6th attempt, but I really like it. So this might actually stick around.
Yeah.
But then you do see the underlayers
Yeah,
here.
that's really
And this
nice.
was the first layer of the
Oh
paint.
yeah.
It's a very old canvas.
Yeah. Well, I love that it's like transforming like life is, right? And like people, we have a lot of layers and you can't always see them. So I think that the process that you're going through personally, I think is really, really interesting. So most of the work that you brought kind of started like this, right?
Yeah, so this is what I usually do.
Mm-hmm.
I sometimes like to blend stuff in, like this one. So
Yeah.
it still has lots of layers.
It's lovely. Yeah.
And sometimes I like it to be very plain. And this is called Death at Sea. So if you can see the sea there.
Totally.
I don't know why, it just happened.
Yeah.
And
you had some where you're happy accidents and you're letting things drip and dry and there's all different things. Now these, do you think any of these are completed? You feel like any of these are completed?
Yeah, I think that one is okay. Yeah. Again, I like to see stuff in the frame.
Yeah, I remember we were talking about that.
So I think the frame makes the difference. Because for me, then it makes them complete. And then I can see what is missing, what is not missing. This is just a piece for fun. I don't know why.
Right. It's so, can you hold on to those on the bottom? Okay. Wow, look at those. Yeah, your colors, you go from this very smooth and softness to the really bold brush strokes behind it.
That's why it's very personal. It's very of the moment. It's like a picture. You take a specific feeling and then you do stuff and something happens. That's why they're not similar to each other.
Yeah. The brush strokes on this one is really fantastic. Yeah. And then these, you had some that were dripping. I don't know if those are in here.
I think I repainted them.
Painted over it?
Yeah.
Yeah. Softness. So what does it feel like to transform? And this one I think is really interesting because you can see a lot more of the texture in the background.
Yeah. It is not finished yet. I'll come home and I'll add
more
something.
Space, more within the shapes, right?
So it has more dimension.
Yeah.
But I like it more than it was. And again, I came with this canvas. It had this, and then I added the dripping here.
Yeah.
And the last section was adding these kind of shapes, which I really like, the boldness of them.
Yeah.
I think it tells some kind of a story. I don't know
totally
which story
does.
it tells.
Yeah, it really does. Yeah. Yeah. I'm really intrigued by these. And like I said, I came out here one day and I was like, where did these come from? So they're just, and I feel like I remember we were having a conversation and you guys were having a conversation on the back porch, right? And then the next day you came out and here we are. So, so I'm going to move over so I get better light here. But yeah, so how are you feeling as you're packing up?
I feel sad.
Yeah, sad. Do you
Yeah.
think one extra week would have been good, or you think?
I don't know because creative process sometimes it just trains you all. So I
Mm-hmm.
do feel that I'm reaching
Ready to go
my
home.
capacity of being creative and not
Mm-hmm.
too, I don't know, self conscious or something
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. Do you feel like you've had? I mean, to me, you have. Looking at these, like a creative shift.
It's something new to try, and I'm very happy to try it.
Mm-hmm.
And let's see where it goes. I
Mm-hmm.
sometimes go back, but I think again, art is dynamic.
Yeah.
It's something that you need to try to
Yeah.
see, and it's always interesting to see to look back and see what you liked. And again, it's a skill. Once you get it, you can always
Yeah.
use it, and maybe in other ways as just parts and not the whole painting for
Mm-hmm.
this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm really happy with that.
Yeah. So when we were kind of sharing each other's work, you
Mm-hmm.
had a lovely little presentation that
Yeah.
you put together, and you have, your. Can you share a little bit of your philosophy? You were talking about how you woke up. You've always been a creative person, but academically you've done a variety of things, and
Yeah.
you said something about you woke up and had the urge to
Yeah,
paint.
I just woke up one day and I don't know, I felt that I want to paint. I went to the
Yeah.
store, I bought brushes and I bought paint and I started to paint. And that was my first time and I have never stopped since.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you were talking about how colors and expressing emotions is kind of the
Yeah,
priority
yeah, I
for
really
you.
like, I mean, as you can see, I like colors. I like when it's bold. I like when it's, I don't know, tells a story.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And playing with
I'm gonna come over
colors
here on this side too. Put
and
these behind you. Yeah,
yeah,
great.
playing with colors and seeing where it can go. But it's all in the moment, so it's not that I'm making rational choices.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it's just where your hand goes.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes I think about a color scheme before I go to the painting, but it never works. It
Right.
always changes because the mood changes, and when the mood changes, what you want to show changes.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a very, again, fluid process.
Mm-hmm. Hence the term abstract expressionism,
Yeah.
right? Because
Yeah.
it's about that almost. Do you feel like it's maybe like a mindfulness in the moment? It's very much
Yeah.
kind of the the moment to moment rather than
Yeah.
a planned
Yeah,
thing.
definitely not a planned thing.
Mm-hmm.
If I plan something, it never works out. But I mean, but it is. It's like a picture. It's about the specific moment, and I think
Mm-hmm.
when you look back at the colors, you can see where it came from, whether it was lighter, whether it
Mm-hmm.
was darker, whether it was sharper or more
Mm-hmm.
smoother. And then, if I were a psychologist, maybe I could look into depth. But otherwise, it's really about the specific moment and what you want, and then the canvas talks back.
Yeah.
Because sometimes you put color in the color, and this is already a new, it creates a new thing, and you think, okay, is this the way we're going? So it's like a conversation with these colors and with the canvas and with the brushes, how you put them, because sometimes that changes the flow of the
Mm-hmm.
painting. So it's like complex, but again, very easy, very light, and very fluid.
Mm-hmm. That's great. That's great. So, what beyond the space or the people interacting,
Mm-hmm.
what else do you think was beneficial for this particular residency
I like the
about the
river.
space?
I
The
like the
river.
river.
Yeah.
Yes, going to the river and listening to the sound and being in a forest and having the chickens around
Mm-hmm.
running and then the donkeys. It's really very different from living in the city.
Mm-hmm.
And this is what is unique about this place.
Yeah.
So this is what I really liked. And then the weather is nice and the road is nice. I was running on the road, so it's
Mm.
again something very like hilly
Mm-hmm.
area. I know I liked
That's
it.
great.
I
That's
liked
great.
it.
That's awesome. Thank you so much. I'm so happy it resonates with you and the others that were here this month. It's just a really beautiful time before it gets too hot, for the summer. So May is really great. And then I just lost my train of thought. Oh, as far as like your workflow, you seem to kind of get in a rhythm with your workflow as well, right?
Yeah, it's really, again, because you don't have any other chores, you don't have
Mm-hmm.
anything to do on your mind that you usually have at home.
Mm-hmm.
You can be flexible. So I painted for an hour. I can go walk around and come back and still paint. It's still
Mm-hmm.
here. There is nothing that is urgent to do,
Mm-hmm.
whatever it is. So it is all about you and painting and your work.
Right. And you don't have to put something away, or
Yeah.
you don't have to clean up every
Yeah,
time. You
yeah.
can just kind of come back, keep
Yeah.
going, and you
Yeah.
don't get you're not getting distracted by like daily life kind of
Yeah.
thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excellent. Well, what's next for you after your drive? You're going to do a kind of a slower drive back, right? Because
Yeah.
you're going to do a little like um,
Exploring the area.
exploring on the way home to New
Yeah.
York, and go up to some caves in Kentucky and
The Bourbon Road.
yeah, so that's a nice like experience too, right?
Yeah.
To just kind of combine this type of immersion with just a little bit of a slower pace returning home too,
Yeah.
right? Where you're not rushing to go home. You've scheduled in a couple of days for a road trip.
I
And
mean,
then
it's
what?
a very nice area. Why
Yeah,
not to drive through and not to
exactly.
enjoy it? So.
Yeah, totally.
But then, I will be having an exhibition later this year, and I think some of these pieces, maybe even the new stuff, will go there. So I'll think about that,
Nice.
and to create a story and think about it more conceptually, maybe.
Mm-hmm.
And apply into other residencies and thinking what the next thing I want to do, maybe explore more about other techniques or something like that.
Excellent. I think that's great. So I hope the exhibit goes well and that you tell me all about it. And I can't wait to see how it comes together as a collection. And I've just been thrilled to have you here with everybody else.
So
It's just
much.
been so great, you know. So thank you so much.
Thank you so much.